Windows Metro 8 interface. I just went through some design training. It's a totally different concept using their semantic zoom, and they have maximum hierarchy levels at 3 levels deep. I mean, it's totally different from what we would design for an iPad app, and we feel that the UI is not, we're not going to be able to repurpose based on the design concept, this frame around it. So looking at MEAPS, you know, there's different tools out there that works great for the Windows phone platform and the Android and iPhone. In the tablet space, how do you think that will evolve?
I think just in general, the platforms, and I'm going to a little bit go back to George, the platforms to get adoption, people will tailor their platforms to be able to deal with that. When that is and how quick that is you know, anybody's guess. But if it starts to get a lot of adoption, there'll be people that will make their market and platforms conform to that and create easier ways to do it than if you're just completely rewriting the app.
Yeah, I also read in the Wall Street Journal that Microsoft is giving app developers 80% of the revenues after the first 25,000 apps. So developers are really starting to develop apps for Windows 8 because they see that revenue stream versus the Apple model, which is flipped the other way.
In my mind, there's 3 ways to deploy the enterprise apps, right? You can put it in an app store, public app store, and put it behind credentials. You could sideload them, or you could have some kind of MDM push it. What do you see happening out there with the enterprise customers you're working with, and kind of what's their preference or tolerance, or what risks do they see around those different methods and why they choose them?
In general, they use the app stores, but they don't like to use the app stores. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we do is on our devices, because one of the things that recently Motorola has done is we have been always a Microsoft shop. So we've kind of grown up hand in hand with Microsoft, and just recently we started bringing out Android devices. So we ourselves have become multi-platform as well. But what we're seeing customers asking for is the ability to have their own internal app store, right? So that's one of the things that we actually offer in our Roll Mobile suite, is the ability to stand up an internal app store. It gives you the access to the external app store, but you can control the apps that the user can download to the device. I think that is appealing to enterprise customers. I think that's where they would like to go, but they like the idea of an app store. They like the idea of being able to simply have the user pull down the applications they need when they need them. They don't like the app store being open where the users can then pull down games and Angry Birds and all that other stuff as well.
George, how about Catavolt? You guys have apps out there.
I think you can't stop the App Store, and I'm seeing a lot of companies go with their MDMs to do that. And then what ends up happening is you turn the device back into a corporate device, and now they're carrying 2 iPhones or an iPhone and an Android, and people are pulling back. So what we're seeing companies do is really safeguard their data as much as humanly possible, and not try to lock down the device so much anymore. So one of the big things is getting an MDM that works with the bring your own device. And what it does is just restricts the corporate apps and what they could access, and then pulls them off if they leave the company or it's lost, but not wipe the device anymore. So I think you can't stop the App Store, so you have to kind of roll with it, and then do your own thing to secure your enterprise.
Okay, acronym warning, I have to translate up here. M2M, Mobile Device Management. So there are companies out there, like BlackBerry's famous for the Bez, where they can control what you do on your BlackBerry and push policy down. AirWatch is an Atlanta startup that's been very successful. So they allow you to do remote wipe. They allow you to control, even to the extent that you can't take pictures with a device. They can set those kind of policies and security and things like that. And those M2Ms also can push applications out.
So I was interested in your views on device fragmentation and OS fragmentation kind of at a high level. I know Maury brought up the example of developers whether they be enterprise or otherwise, who take heat because their application doesn't work on various devices. And certainly some of the OEMs have been taking heat for not keeping their devices updated as the releases roll out. You know, Samsung's been in the news a lot. I mean, I think even Motorola in some cases. But
The other
what do you, I guess, who do you guys think should be responsible for that, and what do you think is the best way to deal with it?
Yeah, I have to explain that Hayden's with Motorola Solutions, which spun off from Motorola that was acquired by Google, so that's why I made that comment.
Yeah, the device fragmentation, that's a tough one. That's one that I think very recently has become more in the forefront of OEMs' minds. How to handle it is something we're still struggling with. You know, I don't really have a good answer for that one yet. It's an evolving issue. I think we're reactive right now, trying to deal with that problem, and we're looking at being able to do some proactive things, but as it stands right now, that's kind of where it is.
Yeah, it's a tough nut to crack. A lot of people, used to jump on Microsoft, but it's a great example of having one platform to develop for, has sped along all these apps, and then, Mac switched over to Intel technology where a lot of companies could develop for both platforms, and so you only really had two to worry about in the mobile space. You've got three or more, and it's four actually, five with both versions of Windows, so you have 5 different operating systems, and you go over to Europe and you throw in Symbian and several other ones over there, so it's a challenge.
I'm the impression that media, entertainment, gaming is far bigger than even the motion picture industry. So if you put the entertainment versus the business and is there an impact there? Did you see the adoption, or which one's driving it?
So are we going to see Angry Birds for business?
No. Well, I agree with you. The gaming industry, the largest one was $1 billion on one game. It was absolutely incredible. I think what's going to happen, and we're actually doing this too with clients, is you're going to adopt some gaming features and thoughts in your applications. In fact, we're already doing that with some of the apps that we develop. Is we put a controller view so you can operate everything from your thumbs, even on an iPad, right? So you can see everything in the middle, but all the buttons are aligned down the side. So I think gaming features are going to make their way into business applications. It won't be like super rich, but some of the quintessential ones will make it into the applications.
I think 2 things here. One is gaming and entertainment is shaping our users. So their expectations are getting higher and higher as we give them apps. But without gaming and all the entertainment, our cell phones wouldn't have 4G today. Because the masses is what drives the market. And what we're doing in enterprise is finally taking advantage of that. And just think about all the infrastructure that we laid down to get you to download Angry Birds on your phone. And that's the reason for all that infrastructure. If they were building it for corporate networks, it'd be 10 years behind where it's at. So it's a constant challenge to keep up with it, but it's what paves the way for us to go on.
Hayden, any thoughts on that, or you see that?
I agree. I think gaming, the features of games you're gonna see them kind of leach into enterprise class applications. They're gonna be behind. But definitely, and I agree that it's driving a lot of the infrastructure that we see today.
Yeah, and I would say as well, to pile into that if you look at the iPhone, I mean, that's a device that we didn't pinch and zoom before the iPhone. And swipe, and 2-finger swipe, and all these things that really are sort of a game controller kind of function. And now, that used to be you hand it to my 10-year-old, he knew it automatically. Now I see grandmothers out there carrying around iPhones and they're pinching and zooming. So, the iPhone's not meant to be a business machine, but it's being deployed as one. So I see, even, BlackBerry's gone to touchscreen and Android's touchscreen, and they're taking some of the same features. And, the BlackBerry, you can swipe through your photos, and, so it won't take long for the business apps to catch up. Really good point there, Craig. Thank you.
How do you anticipate the personal Wi-Fi going to shape the market?
When you say personal Wi-Fi, you mean like being able to take a phone and create a personal hotspot?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that is a concept that is already there, right? All the new phones kind of have some Wi-Fi personal things. So I think people are just going to carry less devices so that they can use their personal Wi-Fi off their phones to connect to the other device they have. So all it will do is boost connectivity, on the road, and in places that you wouldn't expect it before.
So basically, no dig or criticism, but AT&T is going to make the money either way. So if I take my Android device, I turn it on as a Wi-Fi, I have my iPad, I'm connecting to it, I'm still eating data minutes. So
We're going to supply the need that's in the marketplace.
very well said. Touche.
A note about personal Wi-Fi, it just still shows that we are going to carry a lot of devices, and the laptop's not dead yet. So if we could do everything off our phone, it wouldn't need to be a hotspot, because everything else, down the cars are being internet connected right now themselves. So what they tell me, the adoption of personal Wi-Fi is that we're going to have just a lot of electronics on us. We're going to look like we're part of the AV club at high school back in the day, so.
We were in a room, just the average device count was 6 among the 10 people that was in the room. It was kind of a few point there.
Yeah, I'd like to be in the battery business. Big batteries, you remember Dustin Hoffman where he put his arm around him and said plastics. I think that nowadays it's batteries. If you can come up with a better battery. And when you talk about Wi-Fi, I have to laugh because when I was at Bell South years ago in charge of Wi-Fi, the officer said to me, is anybody ever going to use this stuff? And now we think about what a crazy statement that was, and I had to convince them that if we put hotspots out there, people would use them. And now it's like wherever you go, you're always looking to see, can I get on and get off the cellular network? And they're promoting that now. And one of the most interesting things I saw, which never took off here because of privacy, but in Switzerland, when they sold you DSL, they would give you $5 off a month if you opened it up to your neighborhood. And the security was built in so someone couldn't hack into your house. But so that brand, like think about if AT&T did that, as long as you were a customer of AT&T, you could serve on anybody's DSL router. So you go to the pool and the guy living next to the pool has AT&T service.